Hey, and hello, hi, and welcome to episode number 147 of Dude and a Monkey. My name's Ian Loring, and first off, I've got to say, the Cult Experience is a brewery that sells out ale in Wales. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. This is the second of their ales that I've had. I'm not a fan.
Is it not? Why? What's wrong with it? Is there a theme that's developed over the two of them that's caused you to not be a fan of them? Because there's certain breweries I don't get on with just because they taste all their beers have a certain twinginess to them that I can't get on with.
They are so hops focused, it's untrue.
Are they?
I'm not a massive fan of hops. I like my hops.
Yeah.
But I don't like it overpowering everything else. Now,
every flavour.
Both of their ales that I've had, I swear this one tastes like one of the other ones they do, and I've only tried the two. They taste the fucking same.
Yeah, well, I've got there's a brewery that will say it's fairly local to where I live. I don't want to say the name of it because a friend of mine runs it, so I don't want to say the name of it, and I think he does actually listen to the podcast, so he'll have words with me about it, but I don't want to say the name of it and give it a bad name. But yeah, it all tastes the same to me. It all tastes very similar. I've spoken to the people about it and they think it's amazing and great, but to me it all fucking tastes the same.
Yeah, I mean, because I bought as a backup, because I thought this might not go down too well, I bought the Fuller's Organic Honeydew, so I might be having that a bit later on, and that I like. You know, that's that. And have you ever tried Badger Blandford Flyer?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Oh, fucking.
Badger's nice, actually. Yeah.
Oh, it's nice, gingery, like little fucker, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, while we're beer talking, I on Saturday went to Asda to buy stuff for dinner and all sorts of bits, and thought, you know what, I deserve a beer tonight. So I was gonna get some ales in there. I think you get 4 for a £5 or something like that.
Right, yeah.
I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
There was like big empty gaps everywhere, so I couldn't find anything. So I ended up just going, do you know what? I don't want to risk. I don't want to drink something that I've already drank recently from the ale selection, and I don't want to risk buying something that I'm going to go, well, that was crap. So I ended up just getting a 4-pack of Brooklyn in the end, which went down way too fucking smooth.
Nice. No, it's I've got my old. That's the thing. I've got my old dependables, and I like to slightly push the boat out sometimes. But it's the Sainsbury's in the centre of Cardiff doesn't have. It's a small Sainsbury's, and it doesn't have the widest ale selection. It's basically Hobgoblin, Old Speckled Hen, or for some reason randomly these beers from this brewery that I'm not a massive fan of. So I'm gonna have to go to Marks and Spencer's. Marks and Spencer's have the surprisingly most varied ale selection.
Well, yeah, because they took on like a big kind of thing, didn't they? Where they did like their speciality ones, where they're all branded as being Marks and Spencer's like guest ales, essentially. And they've all got a similar kind of theme of label on them, but like in various sort of colours, where they'll have like a fucking ship on them, and one will have a fucking canoe on it.
Yeah.
There's some really, really nice ones in there. However, if you don't check the APV on them, then sometimes you can end up fucking. You can do like what I've done before, where it was 6 for a tenner recently.
Yeah.
And I picked up 6, and all of them were above 6%.
Yeah, fuck.
so I had like 3, and I was going, fucking hell, I'm feeling a little bit fucking funny here now. What the fucking hell is this? Oh, that's because it's 7.9%.
Oh man, it's like that Tesco double IPA I was WhatsApping you guys about the other day.
Yeah.
And it's like this Tesco one that's actually done by Brewdog, and it's 9.2.
Yeah.
And that hits you like a motherfucker, but it's really tasty. So
yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, that was a little fucking tangent before we even started the show.
Yeah,
man.
no, it's impressive.
I liked it.
It's slightly because we're treading water, because Noel Mellor's going to be joining us at some point to talk some Deadpool.
Yes.
Like I'm sure every single film podcast is this week. We usually, I think we slightly pride ourselves sometimes on going a bit left of centre, but at the same time, we've been talking about Deadpool on and off for months.
Well, yeah, I've been fucking talking about it, been excited about it, and saying it's the film I'm most looking forward to this year. Seemingly since since it was fucking announced, really. And then everybody's excited about it. Everybody's talking about it, which is a great fucking thing, don't get me wrong. But yeah, we don't usually go for the big, unless it's like a big sort of tentpole sort of movie that we want to see. We don't usually go for the big hit movie. We usually go for the slightly off-centre one to the side. But yeah, it seems like our side, slightly off-centre one has kind of been fucking pulled in the mainstream. So it looks like we're following the fucking trend, but we were there before it was cool.
Yeah, totally. No, that's unfortunate. I'm going to keep this in the video podcast. Maybe in the audio one as well. Yeah. Oh, Mark just looked like a spanner then. Sorry, you just froze up on me, and the picture was awesome. No. The picture was awesome. You had your mouth wide open. It was blurry.
So it's cool, but it's kind of got there, and we'll get into it. I suppose when we talk about Deadpool, it'd be better say that for when Noel's around, because there's a lot of interesting stuff kind of gone on around the film that in terms of its marketing, not just marketing, but how it's got to be so fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's when you see things like the worldwide phenomenon, and you look at it sometimes, you go, really? Divergent series? Worldwide phenomenon? Not really. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
But with Deadpool, it almost has become that. It has become this kind of this snowballing effect has taken up, and it's ended here with this incredible opening weekend.
Oh, the marketing people got fucked on Friday and Saturday night when the numbers started coming in.
Yeah, because I guarantee you, absolutely 100% guarantee you, if you'd have offered the makers, studio, everybody, you'd have said what this film is going to make. What this film made its opening weekend, if you'd have offered them, I would say that overall, they'd have gone, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon if you'd have offered them half of that, they'd have still gone, be happy with that.
Yeah. Totally. It's mental. I mean, we'll get into it, but I mean, fair fucking play. But we'll do some what we watched and whatnot as well. Yeah, so I think we may as well address the whole the YouTube thing. We're expanding our remit a bit, and yeah, it's a bit mad actually. So I just on a whim on Friday night, I was like, I might just try live streaming, like playing something, and just see how it goes. So said to Mark quickly, "Do you mind if I do this?" Nope, go ahead. And did the Hitman beta. Little did I know that the microphone on my this barely picks up on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So I actually bought a headset over the weekend, and I did it. So I did the Hitman beta, and recorded a little kind of episode-y thing, Ian's Game Face. Yeah. Which was the best my drunk mind could come up with. I recorded that thing at like 11 o'clock at night on Friday. So I did the Hitman beta, and then yesterday I played the first 20-25 minutes or so of this game Firewatch, and you can hear me fine in that. So that's something. That game's fucking depressing.
Yeah, I know. I watched a little bit.
Oh man, did you watch the intro stuff, like the text on the screen and stuff?
Yeah, I watched a bit of it. I was watching you, and it was fucking. It seemed pretty bleak.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. It's interesting though. The game's only about 3.5, 4 hours long, and I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through. I'm probably going to get through the rest of it tonight. It's weird. I don't know whether it's going to turn into a horror film, a sci-fi, or just like an emotional drama. I've got no idea which way it's going now. It's awesome, but yeah. So I'm going to kind of kick out that content, and we've also got a long-time friend of the show who's going to be writing some stuff for the site as well.
Yes, Glenn Chapman's going to write some sort of bits to the site. What kind of, I suppose what we kind of want to do is just kind of throw it open if someone feels like fucking writing something and they don't have a platform to kind of to throw it out there really, and they don't want to start their own blog. Website will be up shortly. I was supposed to be getting something over the weekend, but I had a crazy weekend. So
yes, you did. Yes.
Yeah. So. It will be up in due time, but what we're going to have there is we're going to have sort of like the YouTube stuff, we're going to have the podcast, and we're basically going to have just sort of posts where we'll post stuff, but sort of keep it going. If people have an idea of, do you know what, fuck it, I've written this, or I've got an idea about writing this, get in touch with us, and we're happy to kind of put it up there for you. So, and doesn't have to be film related, really, to be honest.
That's the important thing, I think. I think the podcast
will remain film.
It is going to be like, so anybody thinking, oh, I'm not too sure about this, I don't give a fuck about video games. Like, we do our tangents like normal, but this fucker, the structure's staying the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. This is going to stay the same, but the Glenn's, for instance, he's going to write some bits on parenting from the father's perspective, which is really fucking cool. Which I suppose at some point I would think that myself and you will probably add things into that as well. You've got the they're going to do a bit of the game thing on there. I'm going to start doing a few sort of football related.
I'm fucking looking forward to that. Sorry.
So I'll be hopefully doing one that could be up Thursday, which will be me. Rather than just sort of previewing sort of Liverpool games, stuff like that, or doing like a recap of the week, which I might do occasionally, I'm going to talk about the Europa League and how I think it should be restructured. So there'll be me ranting about that, and essentially it'll be me doing a lot of ranting about football, which I do an awful lot. I'm also there's still going to be more of the look at all my shit. And as well, hopefully, the first episode of another feature I'm going to do called My Insert Director or Actor or whatever's name, Love Affair, is going to start, and it's going to be my first episode of that, hopefully, for the weekend, called My Walter Hill Love Affair, which is going to be essentially just me, just for 15, 20 minutes, just talking about how I fell in love with a certain director or actor or actress or whatever, what sort of started it off, and why I adore them. And Walter Hill is an interesting one for me because of the way that I came to Walter Hill, and I'll explain it on what is it and sort of what certain elements of his films sort of mean to me. And plus, it helps me sort of talk about Walter Hill, because I don't think people talk about him enough, really.
Straight up.
So there's going to be that. So we kind of, the podcast will always remain as it is, and we're cool with that, and I'm really happy about that. But it just gives us a sort of these platforms to do sort of slightly sort of different things and sort of bring different facets of what we enjoy out there, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if people have any constructive criticism and whatnot, I mean, like, on the YouTube videos and stuff, I'd certainly appreciate it. And comment on the YouTube thing, or just send us emails, whatever. I will say as well, in full disclosure, some of the videos will have ads on them, but they won't be too distracting or anything like that. So far, we've made 10 cents.
Yes!
So, it is what it is. All money would basically be going into... Any money that is ever made would be straight up going into the podcast and the site. We're never going to see a penny of it.
No.
So that, I mean, like,
we're never going to get that fucking popular.
No. So like, it's not. I think about monetizing the site, and frankly, if you put any copyrighted material on, you can't charge, because otherwise you really could get in shit. So any live streams I ever do will never have any ads in them. At least ads that I've said, yeah, go ahead. If YouTube do it, because YouTube, fine. But it's important to stress that as well. This isn't, we're actually trying to make this a going concern or anything. It's just, it's an outlet, because I don't know, it'd be nice to talk about more than just films every now and then. What can I say?
Yeah, it is that. Yeah, I like to say it gives kind of an avenue. I've toyed with the idea of setting up a football blog for ages, but it's a lot of effort goes into it, to be honest, and it's hard to kind of sometimes to take what's there and put it onto, type it out and put it into there, and you can read it, and the anger and the annoyance or anything like that, and the meaning of it can sometimes get lost when you throw it out there, which is why the podcast is great for talking about movies.
Yeah.
But I can get quite sort of passionate about football, and especially the administration side of football and the ridiculousness of football. So it'd be interesting to get that kind of across. And it's one of those things where to put across to see if people agree with me, see if people don't, see if people start a dialogue, I suppose, and to sort of give an idea of, look, this is something else that if you want to listen, if you like listening to me talk about football and movies, then you might like listening to me talk about football. You might fucking hate listening to me talk about football because I can really talk about it. So it'll be quite amusing.
No, I mean, this is it. That's the thing. I put a vote out to gauge interest in the video game stuff, and there were a few people who said no, not interested in the slightest. That's cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, the funny thing is, I did actually watch you playing the game you were playing last night for about 10 minutes.
Oh, that was you? Okay.
It was me, yeah. And I actually thought, okay, I'll give it a go. And do you know what? I thought it'd be, do you remember, I don't know whether you'll know, when I was a kid, we had family friends, and I used to be friends with a kid who, the son of the family friends, and he was like a year older than me. And so, when I used to go around there, if he had a few of his friends around, they're back a year or 18 months older than me. So this was back in the fucking Mega Drive and Master System days. So when they were playing games, I'd be the person who'd play last because I was the fucking youngest. So I could be sat there for like 2 hours watching somebody else play a game. And now, sort of psychologically, I can't watch somebody else play a game. It just bothers me. It bores me. I switch off.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll give this a go. And I thought that's what had happened. But it won't. It was quite interesting, sort of watching it and listening to you talk your way through it and things like that. So I was like, do you know what? This is quite interesting. I wish I didn't have to go eat dinner because I could quite easily watch this for another half an hour, quite happily.
Oh, nice.
So there is sort of that, and I'm not just saying that to try and convince other people to watch it. But it was a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. It was. I was quite surprised. It was quite cool.
Yeah, I think you and Bex should have a crack at that game as well. Like I say, it's 3.5, 4 hours. You could burn through it in an evening if you had enough time. It's burn through it. It's called Firewatch. Sorry, it's bad. It's interesting. Right, I've just realised, we're basically having an editorial meeting in the show. So, let's see if Noel's about. Oh, hello. He says he's online. I don't know whether he's going to be video or audio.
Hello?
Audio. He's audio. Hello, Noel.
Am I not video? Hang on.
Not at the moment.
Should be. Hang on.
Oh, yep, hello. Something's happening now.
Okay.
The baby is big on the screen.
Can you see me?
No. Unless you've morphed into a baby.
That's weird. I'm so shit with Skype.
It's not the end of the world, mate. If it's audio, it's audio. It's all good.
No, that's fine. I should be. I mean, is there where's the fucking settings? Oh, there it is. Is that it?
Something's happening. There's a twirly circle.
Wheel.
Hey, there it is. Right.
Oh,
the fuck? Yeah. There he goes. Right, cool. Shall we just Deadpool it?
Fuck it, yeah. There's been no fucking trailers.
No.
Oh wait, no, there's been that Sam Rockwell, Anna Kendrick one, and Cabin Fever.
Couldn't give a fuck.
Why make a movie that's only 15? Remake a movie that's only 15 years old.
Yeah, I didn't watch the trailer for it, so I can't comment.
But, have you seen Cabin Fever?
Yeah,
it's that.
Just that. A bit shinier.
But isn't it shot for shot? That's
pretty
what
much, yeah. But the cop in it. That's a girl now.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't even like Cabin Fever, to be honest.
No, I'm not as crazy about it as other people seem to be.
I find it hard to find somebody who actually really likes Cabin Fever. Tends to be one of those films I think that people think people like, but actually people don't.
No,
has anybody seen the second Cabin Fever, by the way?
Yes. I have. Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to be a sort of bit of a train wreck, but enjoyable because of it?
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. It was taken away from Ty West, and then
Ty West, that's it.
That some more splattery stuff was filmed. Like I seem to remember the end scene of Cabin Fever 2 is in a strip club, and there's some pretty gnarly shit with that, which was reshot. And I know he wanted to take his name off of it, but I don't think he could, contractually or something. But he was not a happy bunny about that. And but the thing is, I don't know. I didn't find it that bad.
I quite enjoyed it. It came out pretty much the same time as House the Devil, didn't it?
Yeah. It was definitely within that same time. I think it was kind of stuck in a bit of limbo because he did it before House of the Dead.
Yeah, I think it was, because I think a lot of the limbo was him trying to take his fucking name off it, I think.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, and kind of the on the fucking cutting room and shit.
Yeah, I've not seen the third, but I probably fucking won't.
So did you cover Super Bowl trailers in the last episode?
No.
Hang on.
Do we not?
I can't remember.
I don't think you did. I don't think you did, because I was listening to it on the way home. And
No, because we recorded it Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, shit. All right. Sorry, but how are you, Noel, by the way? I kind of feel like it's just boom.
Fantastic. Hello, how are you two?
Yes, not too bad.
Good. I'm very good. Do you want a little Dude and a Monkey exclusive?
Yeah.
Yeah. The book will be arriving in 10 days.
Hey!
Finally. So, well, it should be. I'm getting the proof of it from the printer back tomorrow, and provided everything's okay, which it should be, because there's no reason why it shouldn't be. I've fucking checked it 500,000 times. Then, yeah, it should be 10 days from then. So, fingers crossed. So, terrifying, but there we go. I'll be glad to move on with my life
until the next.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say thank you to Noel for the comment that he left on my live streaming the other night. What the fuck is this shit? Go on, watch a film.
Forgot about that. I might have had a few beers at that point, yeah.
I tell you what, I didn't realise that when I was chatting it wasn't actually coming through. So it's just an hour and a quarter of just a game because my microphone wasn't loud enough. So that was pointless. But, okay, so, Super Bowl then. Jason Bourne, who's up for some more Bournage?
It's actually called Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
What a fucking shit name for a film.
Not with the reborning.
Yeah, with the word Bourne, there's so many options, isn't there?
Yeah.
And they've not gone for...
Because when it came up, I thought, it's a Jason Bourne.
That's the name.
Oh, wait, is that... Oh, well, that... You imagine that was like an 18-hour meeting before somebody went, whoa.
They fucking John Rambo'd it.
Jason Bourne. I really hope the next one's called Jason Bourne Part 2, and then the third one's just called Bourne 8, or whatever it'll be by then. Yeah. And it just completely fucks with the names.
Surely Bourne Reborn is the... Or just Reborn.
Born again.
Born again. Yeah, no, that's a little bit like, fucking Born again. No, dismissive.
Born, question mark. Again, question mark, exclamation mark.
Born free.
Or they could Born free. Or they could just have like a sort of travelling
Born
version.
to run. Sorry, no.
Born in the USA.
Oh,
There's probably a few Springsteen-related ones that you could, sure Mark could come up with.
Oh, solid. All right. Independence Day 2. Fair enough. What else do we have? Civil War. Civil War. Yeah. Every single bloody trailer of that film just basically it seems to be, look, it's them versus them. Oh,
yeah. It is a little bit like it's almost like they're trying to make people forget that it's supposed to be a Captain America film and go, look, here's the Avengers 3. Well, it's Avengers 2.5.
Forget about Age of Ultron. No, people
we know
really like that. This is Avengers 2.
It is, yeah. It's a Captain America film, isn't it?
It's a little bit.
There you go. You're going to enjoy it. We promise.
It's a bit like what you were saying, though, Ian, about the Deadpool marketing initially, about it sort of preaching to the converted. One thing that they're doing with the marketing for both this and for Batman and Superman, which I don't get. Well, I do get, because it's the fucking easy thing to do, is this sort of like, which team are you on? Which side are you on?
Yeah.
Now, as immediate gratification for a marketing versus Superman and find out that Batman's a paedophile or something like that. Then I'm going to be like, oh shit, no, Team Superman, Team Superman. So, it's like, don't make me pick a side when I don't know what, when I don't know what the stakes are.
Who
or
the
what
paedophile is.
Yeah. Until I know who the paedophile is, don't make me choose a paedophile. Because last time I did that, I'm on Team Superman. Because I don't know what the fucking stakes are. I don't know what the story is. Like, what if I'm like, oh yeah, Team Batman, Team Batman, Team Batman. And then I go to see Batman versus Superman and find out that Batman's a paedophile or something like that. Then I'm going to be like, oh shit, no, Team Superman, Team Superman. So, it's like, don't make me pick a side when I don't know what, when I don't know what the stakes are.
Who
or
the
what
paedophile is.
Yeah. Until I know who the paedophile is, don't make me choose a paedophile. Because last time I did that,
all went wrong. All went a bit Adam Johnson did it.
There's no way Jimmy Savile was a paedophile. No way. It was definitely Terry Wogan. That was your thoughts, wasn't it, Noel?
Yeah.
Imagine what that'd do to a child. We all know what I'm talking about.
Rough.
Too soon.
What other Super Bowl stuff was there?
The Jungle Book.
I don't need moody Jungle Book.
No, and neither does
Dark
this little guy.
Book.
Neither does this little guy who's coming up the stairs right now, as it turns out. Daddy. So I watched the Jungle Book trailer with this guy. Hey, come and say hello.
Oh, hello.
Oh!
Hello, Charlie.
Hello.
Say hello.
Hello, Claire.
Hello. You're on video, by the way. So I watched the Jungle Book trailer with this guy. And this guy's, one of his favourite films at the moment is the Jungle Book. So I stuck this trailer on. And I was like, Charlie, look, it's the Jungle Book. It's the Jungle Book. And he sort of watched it, and there's that sort of bit where, the bit where Bagheera and Mowgli are sort of walking across the branch and stuff like that. And I could see his sort of face light up a little bit because he was like, oh yeah, I recognise this is the Jungle Book. And then it all kicks off and you've got the talking bear and everything like that. And he just sort of slowly turned around to look at me as if to say, is this that you're making me? And I think that's kind of the problem with it. It's like, why do we need this? Like, why do we need a slightly weaker, less amusing and less sort of child-friendly version of the Jungle Book when the Jungle Book, and in fact the Jungle Book 2 will suffice perfectly well. So confusing.
Lottie can't get into the Jungle Book. Sorry.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Gonna go for a bath now. Okay.
No, man, he's getting his words.
Bye-bye. See you later. He's going for a bath. So that was Jungle Book 2 contribution from Charlie, or Jungle Book contribution from Charlie.
That's good. It was very well timed. I mean that's the thing. I mean, like, as much as I'm looking forward to Bill Murray as Baloo and Christopher Walken as King Louie, which I am looking forward to that. Like, it's the most obvious casting ever for both of those roles, I think, in a way. Bill Murray particularly, but.
On the flip side of that, though, how did you feel about the Scarlett Johansson? Because that just didn't work for me. That just didn't feel right. Scarlett Johansson as the snake.
Yeah, but it's only because you don't want to imagine fucking a snake.
It just stinks of stinks of stunt casting to me. It's a little bit. Like,
there is that, yeah.
It doesn't. They've not cast that character because she would work really well as a snake. They've cast her because she's available and she knows Jon Favreau. That seems to be the only reason for doing it. And also, obviously, she's Scarlett Johansson. It's an extra person to put on the poster. Yeah. With Bill Murray, you get it. With Luther,
Idris Elba,
you kind of get it, but he's never going to quite be as good as what we've had already. It's just. There's so much that doesn't work for me with it that I don't really know. Well, I do know why they're bothering. It's just I'm not going to be too excited about it. I don't think Charlie's going to be too excited about it. And if they can't sell a Jungle Book movie to him, then who are they going to sell it to?
I mean, that's the thing. I was kind of hoping it was going to be Lottie's first cinema trip, and there's no way. she won't sit through 10, 15 minutes of that.
No.
Unless it's, to be fair, she's at the stage at the moment where unless it's the Minions, Totoro, or songs on a loop, then she can't. She can't do it. But I mean, it's fine. Totoro was her first film. I'm fine with that anyway. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I can't help but think like maybe we'll get a new metal cover of "I Want to Be Like You" in the end credits at the end. Like the Limp Bizkit remix or something.
There'll be somebody fucking doing it.
It'll like, I don't know, Kesha. Is she still one of those people?
No, it'll be who knows what it'll be by that point.
Swift.
Yeah. To be fair, that would be
whichever one of One Direction's going to have their solo album out around the same time.
Yeah. Actually, that's more appropriate, I think. Yeah. Okay. So what else do we have? Well, Batman vs Superman had its final track. Oh, sorry, X-Men. Yeah.
X-Men. Yeah.
Couldn't give a fuck. The Marvel scene is brutal.
But do you know what? Because I was already kind of really, I'm pretty much done with fucking X-Men by now, and I didn't dislike the last X-Men movie, but I don't care. The villain looks terrible in this one, and then they tried to sell me on Olivia Munn, and I just went, oh fuck, yeah, I'm done.
See, that's the thing. That's about Olivia Munn as Psylocke is about the only thing that interests me about it, and I know your feelings about Olivia Munn, you've made them very clear, but I'm one of the guys who's drank the Kool-Aid. I think she's very pleasant to look at.
Yeah. So,
but to be honest with you, the overall aesthetic of that franchise has never really had me. First Class was great, but apart from that, I can take or leave any of the X-Men, and I class the Bryan Singer ones in there.
The weird thing is, it's the whole fucking thing is, Bryan Singer, and he's the director of X-Men and everything like that. But it looks like you go, well, hang on a minute. The first X-Men movie was what, 16, 17 years ago, nearly now, and you look at it and go, it doesn't look like it's moved on.
No,
it doesn't look like it's evolved into something. What is it? It looks like it's actually regressed and gone backwards.
Well, yeah, for a movie that the sort of the sub theme is about sort of evolution, for it to actually just go back around up its own arse to connect with itself doesn't seem like a very.
It does. It seems a little bit like a franchise that rebooted itself, and then sort of went, here I am. Look. I've had this divorce, but I've come back and I'm here and I'm out and I'm back in the world, and then now it's gone. I'm back with him.
Yeah,
back with him. Do you know what? It still doesn't work, and he's putting out my fucking misery.
I mean, this kind of feels like the summer blockbuster born of contracts. It's Jennifer Lawrence. They did her for a 3-picture deal. There's no way she's coming back for another one. Michael F. Fassbender. There's no way he's coming back for a 4th one. McAvoy probably will, begrudgingly, but because he kind of needs to keep his profile up.
McAvoy will for one reason and one reason only: a pay deal.
Yeah,
and that's not a criticism of McAvoy, by the way.
No.
But that is. Do you know what? If I do that, I can go off and I can do 2 or 3 of these little films that I want to do.
So, exactly. So, I mean, this one is like the passing of the torch. It's going to be moving from bloody Jennifer Lawrence and Michael F. Fassbender to the girl from Game of Thrones as Jean Grey, and Cody Smith McPhee as Nightcrawler, and whoever the fuck's playing Cyclops. It's, I don't know, it's having younger characters coming in who they can sign for 5 or 6 picture deals. And it's just going to move on. It feels like contractual obligation guest starring Oscar Isaac.
I think they will. I think what they're probably going to try and do is they'll eke the franchise out a little bit with the younger actors, like you said, and then they're going to probably try and pull it into a different franchise. So they're probably going to try and pull in whatever form the Fantastic Four takes next, and try and do stuff like that. Introduce a few more lower level X-Men and stuff like that, and
they're already
try to drag it out a little bit longer.
They've already announced that they're doing an X-Force film.
Oh yeah, now that could be interesting actually, because I mean, what worries me about that is that, and I'm sure James Gunn would probably back me up on this, but what worries me about that is that they've just announced that now very, very quickly and said, we're going to do an R-rated X-Force because Deadpool did so well. And I don't think that they should do that for the sake of it, but the idea of doing a sort of the idea of doing a very violent X-Force movie and doing something that isn't quite as fluffy around the edges as the X-Men franchise has been and as soft as that has been could be interesting. But then, having said that, Suicide Squad will have been out by then. The darkness of Batman versus Superman will have been done by then. Maybe we'll have all come back round and we'll be craving the sort of Top Gun, Iron Man style sort of upbeat superhero movie again. We'll come on to one of the films in what we watched at some point, but I think the important thing about comic book movies is they're very cyclical, and they, you have to hit the market at the right time with the right tone, and if you don't, you end up with something that flops. And it's not because it's a bad movie; it's just because that's not the type. To paraphrase another superhero franchise, it's not the hero that they want right now. So. That can just happen, unfortunately. So it'd be interesting to see if they do an X-Force movie. I'd be up for it, but that's because right now I'm up for a bit of something that's not the Avengers. So,
no, absolutely. What was I? Yeah, so Batman versus Superman. I'm kind of on board, but I think I'm on board for
which team though? Which team?
Which team?
Team. Yeah, have you selected a team?
Team rapist. I don't know.
Okay.
No. So
that's Aquaman then.
Yeah. Dodgy bastard. It's interesting because a report came out last week saying that people have now actually seen the film, like industry people, and it's basically Batman. Ben Affleck as Batman, yes. Jesse Eisenberg, yes. Everything else, not so much. So it's going to be interesting now. I mean, this trailer in particular, it doesn't really feel like they give a fuck about Superman.
No, it does feel a little bit like it went, right. We need to work out what we can do with Superman 2. Ooh, we could have Batman in it. Yes. And now it literally has just become a Batman movie featuring Superman.
But that's not so much of a surprise, really, is it?
No, it's not
when they said that they were working on another Man of Steel movie, everybody went, okay, yeah, I hope you do it better than the last one. And then when they said he's going to have Batman in it, everybody's like, fuck Batman!
Yeah, so, it is. It's like that, but I was on board, and then the more I see of it, the more I go, I'm worried about this.
I'm worried because it feels like it's going to be 2 hours 45 minutes long, and the last 15 minutes is just going to be setting up another film in 2 years' time. That's my issue with it. However, I like Man of Steel. I don't care what people say. I like the fact that Snyder has taken the whole, well, what about all the wanton destruction at the end, and made it, right, fuck you, you've just given me a great idea for the start of this film. Right, okay, we're going to have Bruce Wayne traumatised over the wanton destruction at the end of Man of Steel. Thanks, Internet, you've given me the idea. I like the sheer balls of that from Snyder, and I don't know, Affleck looks really good. The start of this trailer just looked awesome. The way that have you guys seen this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the way that he's taking out that building, he just comes up through the floorboards and then just that's awesome. That's great.
I think this is it. I mean, I've been so cynical about this film from day one, primarily because I don't trust the director, but also because I wasn't blown away by Man of Steel, and I think they blew an opportunity to do something very different with that character, as they have done, time and time again, including Bryan Singer. There's a lot more to Superman. I've never been a big Superman reader, but there is a lot more to Superman, and there's a lot more that they could explore and they could do, and they haven't gone anywhere near any of that stuff. So I think that's a missed opportunity. But having said that, with this latest trailer, you get to see Batman roughing up bad guys, and you can't fail to get a little bit excited about that, even if you are completely down on the movie that is apparently being made. Funny we've not seen anything of Aquaman yet. I'm wondering if that's going to be an extremely small role. Funny that we've not seen too much of Wonder Woman, though. I guess they've got a Wonder Woman movie hot on the heels of this.
They are building that up, though. Like, the first teaser had nothing Wonder Woman. The second one kind of had her at the end. Yeah. This third one, there's a bit more. It does.
At this point, we've seen more of the Wonder Woman movie than we have the Batman versus Superman movie that she's in. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, Mark, what do you think?
The Batman action scenes, they're nice, but they do look a little bit too much like one of the Arkham games.
They
do look very computer gamey.
It does actually feel like a setup from Arkham Knight, where you're in the
Batman skin.
I mean, like literally, there are bits in Arkham, like the Arkham games, where you can go in a grate under someone and then pop out and then take them out, and it does feel like that on a large scale. You're right.
It is
it's a good thing, because I've always fancied the Arkham games, but I can't play video games. So now Zack Snyder's making a movie where I don't have to. So. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, do you want me to live stream the entire 15 hours of Arkham Knight and you can just watch me play it?
I would love that. It would it'd save me having to go and see Batman versus Superman. So you'd probably direct it better than Zack Snyder would. So
I'd swear more.
I'll go and see it, but I'll be honest, I'm not really excited about it. But
everybody's going to go and see it.
The worry there is, it is, let's be honest, it's a Batman movie now, it's not a Superman movie. And I'm a huge Batman fan, so for me to not really be that excited about it kind of shows that there may be, I don't know, that the marketing for it just feels a little bit lazy. It feels a little bit like they're going, oh, look, it's Batman and Superman. What fucking else do you need? Like, well, I need to kind of have an idea about if the movie, if it's going to be any good, what you're going for. Because currently, you're ripping off your fight scenes from a computer game I've already played, and it looks a little bit dull. Really, to be honest, it looks confused.
It looks literally dull. It looks like
and literally, yeah. So and it looks a little bit confused, and that's a fucking trailer. So, but then again, it might be fucking great. Who knows?
Who knows?
I'm gonna go for a P before we chat Deadpool.
Sorry,
I'm gonna go for a P before we chat Deadpool.
Okay, so I've refilled. I'm now on the honey ale. Noel, I was having a bitch about the ale I was on previously before you came on.
Oh yeah, what was that?
It was the Celt Experience. Have you ever tried that brewery?
Is that the name of the brewery? Or?
Yeah.
Don't think so, no.
Don't.
No, okay.
Unless you like hops to rule everything.
Right, I kind of do. I'm a hoppy kind of guy.
Okay, well, fuck you. You'll probably love it then. I'm on my Fuller's Organic Honeydew Ale now. It's a tried and tested favourite. Deadpool is directed by Tim Miller. Or an overpaid tool, one or the other. And produced by Ass Hats, which was it made me laugh. It probably shouldn't have. Stars Ryan Reynolds, Monica Ballarin, Ed Skrein, Gina Carano, and a couple of other people. TJ Miller as well. What's Deadpool about? Man gets cancer. He's sarky. Gets experimental treatment which gives him superpowers, but a face like a ball bag. Is still sarky. Punches people and slices them up. Still sarky. And scene. What did we think of Deadpool? Who wants to start?
I will let you start. No, you're the guest. I'll let you start.
Okay. Well, it's tricky because my main problem with Deadpool isn't really that much of a problem. My main problem is that I was sat there watching it and kind of enjoying it, but I felt like I was, and I feel like I've had this complaint before many times. Superman Returns, Iron Man, Ant-Man to a degree. I was sat there watching it and I was enjoying what I was watching, but it felt like I was watching strung together scenes that I'd seen before in the trailers and the marketing. Now, that's my own fault. That's not the fault of the film. It's just that I was I'm not a huge Deadpool fan. I don't particularly get on with the style of humor in the Deadpool comics. I find it to be it's meta, but it's meta in a very broad, obvious kind of way. And I think when you do meta humor a bit too broad, it can come off as very badly written. So I was not looking forward to the humor in Deadpool. However, I was looking forward to an R-rated comic book movie. And I was looking forward to seeing Ryan Reynolds do something with Deadpool. So for that reason, I was keen to see the marketing. I was keen to see the trailers. So I was happy when the trailers would show up. Problem is, having consumed all the trailers, I then find myself sat there watching this movie that I'm now looking forward to, and the humor doesn't seem to worry me too much. And I'm watching, I'm watching, thinking, this is that bit when this happens. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's the bit where he tells that joke. Okay, and now there's some exposition involving his love life. Oh, okay. Oh, now it's this bit, and it was kind of that for 2 hours. And like I say, that's not the fault of the film. It's a good film, and I enjoyed it. It's just, I was hoping for more of the stuff that I saw in the trailer, and it really kind of felt like, for the most part, all I got was what was in the trailer, or trailers. So, yeah, I enjoyed it, but those are my problems. And they're unfair criticisms, probably, but there it is.
No, I mean, I think in the end of the day, it's a fair criticism if it's kind of generic, but all the best stuff is in the trailers and there's not an awful lot more to actually add to the pot. I mean, I thought there was just about enough. The thing is, even though like they were given a low budget so they can make it R-rated, it kind of still feels like they were hedging their bets a little bit. It was like, how meta can we get this? And I would have liked it to have done more of that stuff. Like the fourth wall, breaking the fourth wall, that's like 16 walls is quite a good line. And I would have liked more of that, more of the, the kind of like, I'm guessing you didn't have the budget to have one of the bigger X-Men actually be in this bit and stuff like that, And I will say as well, when they said a gratuitous cameo at the start, I was kind of disappointed that just meant Stan Lee.
Yeah, same here. I thought it was going to be Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I was convinced it was going to be Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I thought we might see a little bit of Hugh Jackman in it. I was a little bit disappointed we didn't, because when it did say the gratuitous cameo, I did think, oh, we getting Wolverine, and then it was, oh no, we're just getting Stanley.
Even though the Stanley one was pretty solid, though, it felt appropriate for what this film was trying to do. I'm looking forward, given the opening weekend and whatnot, I'm looking forward to this film having a bigger budget, still being R-rated, and being able to push it more.
I will be amazed if Wolverine isn't in the next one. Even if it's just a 2-minute cameo, I will be gobsmacked. Because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are quite good friends. It wouldn't surprise me if Hugh Jackman's going, I want to be in it.
But Jackman's done now, though.
Yeah, Jackman's done. It would be weird if his last appearance was Deadpool 2. It would be weird if that was his last appearance as Wolverine. It'd be great, but...
It'd be great, but do you know what? With Hugh Jackman, would it surprise you if he went, I'll do one more, but it has to be Deadpool 2?
It wouldn't surprise me if at some point Fox turned around to Hugh Jackman and said, do you want to do Old Man Logan? Do you want to come back and be Wolverine for Old Man Logan? Because that's an option that they could miss. So
it is that. I mean, I was very much looking forward to Deadpool. I like Deadpool, the character. Ryan Reynolds his comedic kind of style and his tone, etc., and his delivery is something I'm a huge fan of. So it was like, and also I liked the idea of an R-rated superhero movie. So it was everything I sort of wanted being thrown at me, and I loved it. It has issues. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's the fucking perfect movie or anything like that, but for what it wanted to do, for the good time it wanted to give me, and I did sort of numerous times I have to kind of take my glasses off and kind of wipe away the laughter tears away, because I was laughing sort of that hard at it. And I think part of that was I went into the film going, right, you already have me. You got to fucking lose me. Right. And then the credits starting with like, all right, you've got me a little bit more. So you have to really, really fuck up to lose me. And it didn't fuck up to lose me. It kept me. I'm not saying it's a fucking 10 out of 10. It's a solid for me. It's a solid 8 out of 10, which is what I wanted. I wanted a solid 8 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, I'd be fucking amazed at a 10 out of 10, but you're not gonna get a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 out of this type of movie. It's a solid 8 out of 10. It made me laugh. It had one of those scenes where I was having to kind of stop myself from laughing because I was actually missing the actual film itself.
Is it his arms and legs being broken?
Yeah.
That was fucking amazing.
It was incredible. The patter for it all worked. The fourth wall breaking worked really well. The ridiculousness of it understanding its own ridiculousness. The constant Wolverine gags. I enjoyed. It ticked every box I wanted it to tick, with the exception of the Wolverine cameo within it. I can absolutely see what you're saying about you do feel like you're waiting for the way when something happens, you go, yeah, this is that moment. Or you sat there going, well, I know this moment happens and it hasn't happened yet, so that's going to happen there, isn't it?
I wanted some more subversive stuff as well. Like it's very quick on screen, but the image of Ryan Reynolds masturbating while sniffing a cuddly unicorn, it's just like that was. I wanted more of that. I wanted more of like people just to go, "What the fuck am I watching?" But with this being what this is, it's a 20th Century Fox Marvel film. I mean, the fact that we've got a Marvel-branded film containing Ryan Reynolds masturbating while sniffing a cuddly unicorn, maybe I shouldn't be complaining that I want it to go more, but I do.
Yeah, that's it. And I think the thing is, there's a possibility now with the fact that they have got a sequel. Not only have they got a sequel, they've got so much in the fucking bank now that they can. There's a high possibility where they can go, look, this worked because we did what we were going to do. We did what we wanted to do. If you're going to give us 100 million, I hope they go, when they go, look, here's 150 million, they go, that's too much. No, we'll fuck it up if you give us that much money. Give us 100 million and give us a bit of a hand.
They'd never give them 150 million and say you can keep it R. That is. R-rated films just don't get budgeted at $150 million anymore. They just don't. I mean, when did they ever?
I think it's a lot more likely that they'll just turn around and they'll just go do it again.
Yeah,
we'll double your budget. You've got 80 million. You could double your budget. Here you go. And
hopefully with that they could go, fuck it. We can. Do you know what?
Another X-Man.
We fluked it really. The first one, we didn't expect to make this much money, so fuck it. Let's just do the fucking Hangover 2 thing. The ridiculousness of that, where they went, do you know what? We're just gonna do the fucking. We're just gonna throw as much shit at it because we won't get another chance to fucking do it again. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, fuck it. It's not our money.
I mean, the thing is, like, they could budget this at double the budget. It could make $1, and overall, they'd probably still be in the black because of how well this one's doing.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It's the cool thing about it is the action works as well. The action's nice in it as well. It's not just quips. It's not just that.
The third act, the action, that sequence is a bit. Okay, it's in like a shipping yard and there's containers falling over the place.
It looked a little bit like looked a bit like a sort of decommissioned helicarrier.
It didn't look like a helicarrier. I thought.
Which I was a little bit like, is that? Like,
I thought it was a helicarrier.
Yeah,
which was a nice.
Really, they surely it can't be.
Whether or not it was just a bit of a nod on wink on that, or whether it was look, we've already got this the imagery for this.
It didn't look like a helicarrier. It looked like a sort of older version of a helicarrier that had been decommissioned or something, which would have been fantastic if that was it. But I can't imagine it was. But
they should have had Terry Crews pop up as like Mick Nuri or something,
Well, did you read that story today about the fact that they used a character in Deadpool that actually they weren't supposed to use?
Oh, really?
Yeah, in that final sequence where Deadpool's getting attacked by the guys and he goes, "Oh, hey, it's you," and it's his mate Bob.
Yeah.
There's a character in the Marvel Universe that's called Shield. Is he called Shield Bob? And he's basically he's an agent of Shield who has a sort of military background and is a friend of Deadpool's. So that is a direct reference to that. So it's kind of a little bit like they knew what they were doing by referencing and saying that this guy was called Bob, but because at no point anybody said, Agent Bob or Bob, they kind of got away with it. So that's pretty weird.
I mean, in the post-credits bit, he does actually say, what were you expecting Samuel L. Jackson to come out with an eye patch and invite me to join something, So, I mean, like, they are, there
was little moments like that, and I did enjoy this film, and I was kind of hoping, actually, that during this discussion, a few more sort of moments would be pointed out where I'd be like, oh, yeah, actually, I really did like that bit. And, you mentioned one earlier, and I think it's probably the best gag of the film, and it worked specifically for me because I was actively in that moment. So the moment where Deadpool arrives at the Professor Xavier school, and he's sort of like looking like that, I was looking in the back, and I'm like, a little, like, is there any? Am I going to get a cameo here, or is there something happening there? Then he turns around and he says something like, it's kind of funny because this is a big ass house, so you're the only two people that I can see because you're not afford another X-Men. So just to have that sort of gag answered that way was quite nice, and there was plenty of good gags in there. It's just it felt like the tentpole moments and the tentpole gags, the biggest gags, were sort of holding together a load of other exposition in the middle. So
a gag I loved was the
I agree with that.
When he goes to the big sort of final fight and they all get out of the car and they're walking and you've got DMX in the background. Yeah. Becky just sort of nudged me and went, "He's forgotten his bag again." And I was like, I thought, oh, please be that he's actually forgotten his bag and not just that you don't see it in the shot. And then she looks at me and goes, where are your guns? He's like, shit.
See, that's you just reminded me as well. The whole thing with the cab driver, I'd forgotten about that. That cab driver was great. Where he's like, "Oh yeah, what happened with you?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing, and he's like, so yeah, that was nice.
I would also, did you guys read that like IKEA agreed to product placement in this, but on one condition? That they use the real names of IKEA furniture, so like all of the ones they're talking about are actual IKEA pieces. Like it's such an obvious gag, but the blind lady, like the start of the scene, she's just finished putting together that thing. At the end of the scene, she just sits down and it just all falls over. It's like,
but that's another thing. You talk about sort of like a bit more subversive stuff and sort of odd stuff. That's a really odd thing to come up with. The fact that you've got sort of Deadpool turning around to the blind lady and he's like, "No, we're going with the fucking holster. We've had this discussion." That's really nice.
The cruelness of the goodbye, I love you. There's £1,600 of cocaine there next to cure blindness. There's so many. I liked the fact that it was a bit nasty.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a shitty, what is it? Like the
International Women's Day, sorry.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Just I don't know, Ryan Reynolds getting something off his arse and going, no. Just like, it's a film of very simple pleasures, is Deadpool, but it gets a lot of them spot on.
And I think you're absolutely right. I think that I would go on record now and say that the sequel is going to be fantastic, because I think Fox will have the confidence to let them get away with more. They'll potentially have a little bit more money, and they won't be testing the water quite so much within the film. So I think the gags will come a little bit freer and will be a bit looser. They won't necessarily have to relate to things like rights to X-Men and stuff like that. I think the next one, because they've obviously, all spoilers all the time, they've announced that Cable is going to be in the second one. That's a perfect person to team up with Deadpool. He's another badass mercenary. They can go around doing violent things to people and bouncing off one another. I don't know who they're going to get to play Cable, but if they get the partnership right.
Have you seen Stephen Lang on Twitter?
That'd be a mistake.
Yeah. Who's that? Is that the guy from Avatar?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
It'd be a mistake because he's too old and he's a shit actor. No, he's pimping himself for it.
Yeah.
which I don't think they're going to go for. I mean,
they need somebody with a bit of a tidy sense of humour, someone who can really bounce off Ryan Reynolds, and that's not going to be an easy thing to track down.
It's not, because the great thing about it is, with the way that this movie came about and everything like that, and with Reynolds in the sort of part of his career he's in now, you could see Reynolds essentially turning around to the studio and saying, look, unless you let us do this the way you're going to do it, you don't get Deadpool, I won't do it. Fuck it.
It makes me.
I brought this movie to fucking fruition. Through sheer force of will of you fucked it up last time. I want a chance at a proper Deadpool. If you're gonna fucking try and take that away from me, fuck that shit. So I think the next one they'll up the ante and really fucking go for it. And hopefully it'll work and it'll sting. But the great thing about this movie is it was such a surprise to general public. I went to see this movie. To be honest, I paid for this movie twice because I was supposed to go and see it on Friday, and I actually booked tickets as well, which I never normally do. Then I went to see it last night at 5:45 on a Monday, and it was packed. At 5:45 on a fucking Monday. So this movie is just jumped.
I said on WhatsApp to you guys when I came out of there, I go to the AMC in Manchester in the city centre. And then I intentionally go there because it's usually quieter than the Printworks.
I will say, I've been there twice, and it was dead both times. Only Lovers Left Alive, and it follows, and it was dead both times.
Usually, quality, the pitch quality is great in there, the sound quality is great in there. It's like, I wouldn't say it's a great kept secret or anything like that, but that's the reason I always go there. I went there on a Wednesday after work. Sure, it's kind of Meerkat Wednesday or whatever the fuck they call it now. But it was straight after work, so I was in the 5:45 screening, I think it was. You wouldn't really expect the 5:45 screening to be that full, and it was hammered. It was absolutely hammered. This is a Wednesday, the Wednesday before the film comes out, sort of thing, in that sort of area, and it was full. And I came out of there and I thought, well, if it's managed to pull in so many people, so many interested people on one of the first showings on a Wednesday, then they might be all right with this. This could work out for them.
I spoke to one of the guys at View and said, "What's it been like? Has it been busy?" And he went, "It's been Bond busy." He said, "It's unprecedented." He said,
Bond busy.
He said here it's been Bond busy. He said it's been insane at how. He said we were.
I thought that was some sort of York slang. It's been Bond busy, mate. Bond busy.
Not that I'm aware of. No, I took it as he meant as busy as Bond was. It's great. But what's also great is the fact that it wasn't just marketing. It wasn't just clever marketing that fucking got people there. And then once you were there, you were like, oh. I've kind of been duped here a little bit. It was good. It was fun. It was different. It was. You had a lead character in Reynolds who was prepared to kind of go, do you know what? I'm going to take the piss at myself. Why not? Because fuck it.
It's the feeling that there's sort of you read that this is doing, you read that this is Bond busy, and that it's smashing box office records, and they're already thinking about greenlighting a sequel and stuff like that. And for me, it's a relief, and it's kind of like it's a sort of like. Well, good on them. Good on them. I'm glad they got that. I'm glad they got this sorted. I was rooting for it to succeed, and I'm kind of glad it did. I'm happy for everybody involved, which is a nice thing. So.
Because it's a movie that's come out of. There's no cynicism been involved with it really. It's a movie that's been made by people who wanted to make the movie, who wanted to do an R-rated Deadpool movie, not to kickstart a franchise, not to get to go right. Well, here's Deadpool. This is how we can get him into the Avengers movies. They have no fucking intention. They'd hit it, destroy it, and they don't want that. It is just to look. Everyone was really excited when Ryan Reynolds was cast as Deadpool, and it got fucked up. Ryan was really excited about it, and he got screwed essentially. So. Look, here, oh my god, it's been amazingly successful. Well, thank you. It's not we fucking told you or anything like that. It's just look, we're along for the ride and we're glad you fucking come along with us.
Absolutely. I mean, and good on old Rai. The guy, has not had a hit in ages. I mean, Noel and I will be talking about something on What We Watched that we both watched over the last few days, which was him attempting to go out there. And that film feels like watered down Ryan Reynolds. This is unfiltered Ryan Reynolds, and it's spot on. You know, I don't know. I mean, fair play to her. One thing I will say, I mean, Monica Ballerin, I think she's more interesting early on in the film, and she gets less interesting as she goes on. She kind of, they set her up as the spiky match for him, but by the end she is slightly damsel in distressy, and you know. But thankfully, Donna actually raised that point to me, and I think it's a good one. It's going to be interesting with the sequel to see if they actually keep her around, because there's quite a lot of talk of maybe Deadpool being a bit more sexually ambiguous in the sequel, and I think that would be interesting. But I don't know. It'd be interesting if like the second one is she's killed off early on, and then it's another revenge mission, but this time he's going after the person who killed his bird, not kidnapped her or something. I don't know. Like I don't know. It's just it's weird. It's going to be the casting in the next ones. I think is going to be interesting because it feels like it was quite a lot of low level people here, maybe because they couldn't really afford anyone bigger.
That's it, yeah.
Whereas now, like Cable, it does kind of sound like they might go big. And yeah, I mean, frankly, I mean, Ed Skrein, I wouldn't have been surprised if in the credits they said Jason Statham's Mexican non-union equivalent or something like that. You know, it is, which he was in the Transporter Refueled. That pretty much was what he was.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see with the sequel whether they do get it hit home run or just lose everything that made this one so interesting. It could just go one either way, I think.
That's it, yeah. It could do that. Like, that casting could fuck everything up. But I don't know. You get the feeling that they'll screen test it, or they'll test and go, right, does this work? Who do we know? They'll have an idea already of, we kind of think this guy is going to work.
I think that's exactly it, and I think, you know, what we're saying about the fact that this is a property that was important to everybody involved to get right. The fact that they got it right, and the studio is now going to trust them a little bit more. I think they're going to be all the more careful to make sure that they maintain that. And you know, from somebody like, you know, Ryan Reynolds is someone who understands that in order for his performance to work, he needs to be surrounded with the right people to bounce things off. So I think what we're going to see in the next film is probably a little bit less of Colossus and obviously a little bit more of Cable, but I think it's going to be a hand-picked actor. He will have a lot to do with that. And I think they will know to be careful. I'm really looking forward to a sequel because I think this, you know, in the same way as The Force Awakens has allowed the next Star Wars movie to be a bit freer and a bit less bound by, you know, by all of its trappings, I think Deadpool 2 has a great opportunity to build on what it's done.
Well, it is. The thing is Reynolds is the ideal kind of candidate. The reason why he's never really had a huge mega hit is because he's always kind of fallen in the wrong kind of places, really. Because he looks like a leading man. He's got the build of an action star, but he's got the mentality of a comedian. So he's kind of everything. He's that. He's got the sort of the whole package, but not enough of it. It doesn't fit anywhere, really, because. You know, I mean, the ridiculous, the actor he reminds me most of is Chevy Chase, but Chevy Chase could never have fucking been an action star or anything like that.
Can you imagine if Deadpool was made 20 years ago and Chevy Chase played Deadpool?
But that'd be the kind of thing you'd have got. It'd have been that, because, you know, it's when everyone's going about they're remaking Vacation, and I thought, oh, right. And then when they cast Ed Helms as it, I was like, Ed Helms as Chevy Chase? And then it was like, oh no, he's going to play Russell. Like, oh, that makes sense. But if they'd have recast it and gone, we're just remaking, we're not rebooting and doing, what is it? We're just going to remake one of the vacation movies, or do it, it'd have been, well, if you're doing Chevy Chase, it's got to be Ryan Reynolds.
They basically need to remake Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
They don't need to remake Chevy Chase films. If you just remake Chevy Chase, then we can just have more Chevy Chase films. Yeah. Problem solved, Hollywood.
Exactly. So just get on with that fucking shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I for saying that, I loved it. It's definitely not shit from me. I thought it ticked every box I wanted it to tick. It's made me go, yes, I cannot wait for a sequel, and I would have quite happily walked back round, paid again for the third fucking time, and then going and seeing it again. In fact, I probably will go and see it again before it comes off screens.
I was wrong, and I'm very glad I was. Like, I was very, very wrong. I've been wrong all the way through. So, fair fucking play. Well done, old Rai. And, yeah, definitely not shit. I certainly don't think it's perfect, but I had a very, very fun time watching it. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a good time with it. I still hold on to that mild disappointment that, yeah, I overindulged in the marketing, but you know what? That's a lesson that I learn every now and again, and it's sort of made me now more reluctant to just absorb more marketing for the films that I'm looking forward to. So it's a reminder to me to not do that. So that's a good thing.
Are you at definitely not shit? Or?
It's a definitely not shit. Yeah, good, definitely not shit.
Cool. So we'll move on. I think for what we watched, maybe it's just appropriate that we go into Green Lantern straight away. Just given. So Green Lantern. It's actually did you buy it on iTunes?
I rented it actually.
Okay.
I rented it for $3.49 in HD. Was it $3.49? Yeah, $3.49 in HD.
And then yesterday I saw that it'd gone down to $5.99 to buy.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh well, never mind.
Yeah, but it's actually on Amazon Prime Instant as well, so I watched it on there. You watched it on iTunes. It's fine. It's fun. It is Ryan Reynolds slightly in a box. Even though I do like at the start, he's rushing out after shagging that blonde, and he's like, "There's water in the tap," and he just fucks off. That's good. But the thing is, at the time, obviously, like, Warners were trying to get their DC thing going then, with Marvel Studios, and they were like, right, we're going to do Green Lantern, and we're going to do all this other stuff. And then they make this film, and it's basically a Saturday morning cartoon where people were kind of in that time wanting, well, the Dark Knight's just come out. We got the Dark Knight Rises in a couple of years. What have we got now? It's moody, it's gritty. No, it's not. It's Ryan Reynolds in a CG suit, like, making racetracks. It's an oddity, I think, is Green Lantern, but it's quite the fun one. And I don't think we're ever going to get Peter Sarsgaard doing anything like this ever again.
No, I'd agree with that. I think Green Lantern is an oddity. It's something nobody ever talks about really anymore, unless it's the opportunity to be derisory about a comic book movie. And I think that's a shame, because its heart is in the right place to a degree. And I think a lot of that comes from Ryan Reynolds. And I think the reason that we've got Deadpool now is because of Green Lantern. I think he kind of got his fingers burnt a little bit. He came out and was very passionate about Green Lantern, and I really love this character, really want to do it justice. And I think it was the wrong tone for a comic book movie at the time. They were still, DC were trying to get a sort of Iron Man type character off the ground, I think. When, like you say, in fact, at the time, the world was in a bit more of a sort of Dark Knight kind of place. And that sort of cartoony look just didn't work with people at the time. And I remember reviewing it for Heroes with yourself, Ian, and Jordan, and saying exactly the same thing. And Jordan reminded us of his comment about the Saturday morning cartoon thing, and that's why I liked it. In the same way that I really like Green Lantern First Flight, the animated. I enjoy that type of thing. I don't have a huge attachment to Green Lantern as a character, but so maybe that's got something to do with it. But yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. I would say it's probably, despite the fact that it has a lot of sort of outer space stuff going on, it's not a particular. It feels like a small superhero movie. the
Stakes don't feel that
concerns.
high, yeah.
You what? Sorry. Yeah,
Stakes
exactly.
don't feel that high.
Everything feels like it's happening in his back garden and space. It's just one or the other. So maybe its ambitions could have been a bit higher in that regard. But if you're just looking for a fun superhero movie and you're prepared to just go along with the tone of it, then there's a good time to be had with this. It's kind of a shame that and I mentioned this on Letterboxd, I can't imagine it actually. It would be kind of weird, but looking at the Ben Affleck Batman that we're getting, looking at the Henry Cavill Superman that we've got, looking at the Wonder Woman that we're getting, and looking at the movie that is in the works and moving up towards Justice League, Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern could add an awful lot of levity to that very drab, dull, heavy movie that's coming. And it's kind of a shame that we're not going to get that. And we really aren't going to get it. It's not going to happen. And that's kind of a shame, really. So there we go.
Yeah, okay. Moving on from Green Lantern, one that we've all seen recently, actually, Trumbo.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, Noel and I have watched this over the last week or so. Mark watched it a few weeks back. Slightly feeling that Bryan Cranston's getting an Oscar nomination because he's Bryan Cranston and it's a film about Hollywood. But I enjoyed it myself. I can't say I loved it. I've got a feeling Mark might be the one who liked it the most out of all of us, actually. So I'm intrigued to see how this goes. But I liked it, but I'll be honest, I didn't feel particularly like he was under threat that much. I didn't feel that he was under the cosh. It was like, okay, he has to move from a massive estate to a really comfortable looking house, and his neighbours don't like him, but it's only really like one incident where it genuinely seems like he's under threat, and even it's based on real life, but it kind of feels like he's still able to make a living through what he was doing. It does. The early part of the film does get his political point of view over, but it kind of feels like his political point of view like turns into just a personal struggle of a Hollywood man who can only afford a mortgage on a really nice house instead of a really stunning estate. And for me, that was a problem.
I think it's more the fact is that these people were essentially told that they couldn't work, really. That Hollywood were essentially saying, look, this thing that you used to do...
That's the problem, they do. They carry on working.
Yeah, and he could still go to bars and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, he gets blanked at places.
It's not the same kind of... It's not the same. Essentially, the guy was writing Oscar-winning scripts, but couldn't say he was writing it. It's not... The film isn't trying to say, look at how... personally, I didn't think it was. It isn't trying to say, look at how hard they had it or anything like that. It's more saying, look at the ridiculousness of this. Look at the ridiculousnly.
I thought the film was saying, look at how hard this is, but...
I think that... Sorry,
but that's what I got out of it. Was look at the ridiculousness of this period in Hollywood that didn't actually happen that long ago. That they kind of try and ignore and kind of try and go, we did do that a little bit, and it was essentially fucking Salem witch hunts again, because there was people getting banned for being told, oh yeah, I saw him once at a communist thing. What, you were there? No, I was trying. I was only there. It was strange that it didn't go as in depth as I wanted it to go, really, because it's quite a fascinating kind of subject. I did actually message Ian you about it and say there's a great De Niro film directed by Ivan Winkler, actually, funny enough, called Guilty by Suspicion, which kind of tells the more. It's not based on anyone in particular. It's based on the time, but that kind of tells it a little bit more seriously. And I did feel this had a little bit of a floaty. Somebody mentioned it almost like Coen-esque. Bounciness to it, where it went for a little bit of a soft drama rather than a hard drama a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, I enjoyed some of those moments, like John Goodman smashing up the place and saying, "What was it like? You're going to put that in the papers? That's why my viewers can't even fucking read."
Yeah.
You know, like that. You know, that's a good time, and I thought that I thought that John Goodman was good in it, kind of coming in from a completely different film, but good in it nonetheless. I didn't quite get the impactfulness I think it was trying to put across, and I think that Cranston played things quite broad, and I don't know, maybe that's what Trumbo was actually like, I don't know, but it felt a bit theatrical to me. It didn't feel like Breaking Bad, I'll say that, you know.
See, my problem with it was exactly the same with Ian's. I didn't feel like the injustice of this and the ridiculousness of this, that people could be so, ridiculous about such a subject. It didn't feel like that came across at all, and it didn't feel like they were addressing it properly, and it felt, for me, it affected certain moments. There's one moment in particular where Edward G. Robinson is explaining to Trumbo why he's done what he's done, and he's like, it's all right for you. You've carried on working. You've carried on doing this, and this is my job right here. You're able to operate in the shadows and continue to provide for your family and stuff like that. But I've not. I forget the way he puts it, but I've got nothing to hide behind. I'm right here.
Yeah.
And it's at that point, Trumbo then sort of goes back at him and goes, "Oh, no," and just starts having a go. And it's like, wait a minute, he's kind of got a point. I can't get behind you now because I'm kind of agreeing with what he's saying.
And the film also itself kind of, within, one of its characters, the Louis C.K. character, who is actually not a real person, it's an amalgamation of two or three different people. But it kind of puts it across in that of where he outright kind of says, look, it is all right for you, in the sense that, you're already rich. You've already earned a lot of money doing this.
Well, they even kind of dance around that a little bit as well. It's a little bit like, well, there's this guy who's got these very firm beliefs and these very, strong beliefs. And then, as an audience member, it's very obvious to me that you can kind of look at him and go, well, you're doing okay. If you're really a communist, why aren't you sharing the wealth? Because that's what communism's all about. And will you be able to give up the lake at the end of your garden? And they get around it by Bryan Cranston turning around and saying something, well, blah, 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 and just gives it a witty and semi-clever piece of copy because he's a script writer, and it sort of gets him out of it. And it's just a bit like I can't feel bad for this guy who's having a bit of a rough patch in his
that's the thing. It obviously in real life it wasn't a bit of a rough patch. This film makes it feel like it was a bit of a rough patch.
It maybe doesn't sort of. I think maybe what the film maybe doesn't put across, and what the film kind of is a little bit. It's kind of caught between telling two stories. It's kind of telling the story. It's telling Trombone's story whilst also trying to tell a story about the blacklisting in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And maybe if you wanted to explore the impact of the blacklisting in Hollywood, Trombone isn't the best fucking person to pick, because the guy, yes, he suffered, but nowhere near as much as other people. I mean, you have to look at someone like Sean Penn's dad, for instance, was blacklisted, and that had a major impact on the family. But again, not to the level of other people's that were kind of impacted by it. But then it doesn't go as much into the fact that he became quite dependent on drugs and alcohol because he was writing for sort of 16, 17 hours a day. And what he was writing was shit, and he fully admits it was shit. And the King Brothers was writing was shit, but it's just the shit that he wrote was better than the shit that other people wrote. But he was writing for sort of 16 hours a day sometimes, and that must be fucking difficult to kind of sit and do that. And then he was also doing all these other things. I don't think it got into I will agree on there, absolutely, is it didn't get into how sort of difficult got that. It made it look like he made it quite easy and made it quite, well, you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this. And it felt, those bits felt a little bit floaty.
Yeah, maybe it's, I'm not denying for a second that it probably was a bit more difficult on a harder road and stuff like that. But it's the sense of the film to me is that, and the reason why I feel that it's being given the attention that it's being given by people who vote for these things, is that it's a little bit like, oh, they stopped him from making his they stopped him from writing poetry and he was forced to write B movies. And it's a bit like, well, you know what? I write for a living. I'd love to be able to write the stuff that I like to write about all day, things that I don't want to write about. But I get paid for it, and I'm grateful for that. So it feels a little bit like, the world's smallest violin for Dalton Trumbo, really. When in fact this was a massive injustice, and loads of people, there are probably loads of tragic stories attached to it. Whereas this guy with sort of ambiguous beliefs about communism kind of floated through it a little bit. And again, that's not me commenting on the real story of Dalton Trumbo. This is me commenting
on the film, yeah. Which is how you've got to look at it, really, because you're not reviewing the real life events of what happened. You're reviewing what the film has told you has happened.
Yeah.
So like you say, like, you can't go, oh yeah, but it was like that, because that's not the film showing. You're not reviewing the actual events. You're reviewing the film depiction of the events, and I can absolutely see that. I like movies about movies, and also, well, I like John Goodman. So if you're movie about movies and John Goodman, you're onto a fucking solid platform straight away there with me.
Yeah, no, same. I mean, I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I very much enjoyed it, but I'm a little bit. I was a little bit let down.
I enjoyed the performance, and I enjoyed the fact that it was a movie about movies. I'm a sucker for movies about movies.
Same.
It just on occasion there, I was a little bit. I wasn't quite as taken with the story because it didn't feel as rich as I feel that it probably could have been. But I still enjoyed it. It's a 3.5, I think, out of 5 on Letterboxd. So, that's a good score for me. So
that's exactly what I'd have given it, to be honest.
Yeah. I think I would as well. I'm gonna let you guys talk, because I think I'm going to concentrate on what I've been watching on the next show and do some catch up there. So, you guys go.
Well, I'll throw a couple out there. I rewatched Hateful Eight. Because Becky wanted to watch it, and I wanted to see if because we watched, when me and Ian watched it, we obviously watched it, and we got an actual a break in it for 15 minutes.
No, did you see this? Sorry.
It's the strangest thing.
Sorry.
For some reason, I don't know what it is. There's a new Tarantino movie out, and I can't get interested enough to just fucking watch it. It's the strangest thing. Like, I don't
say
myself.
It is
something that's just not hooking me and hasn't been, and I don't know why.
I'll
probably enjoy it, but
I'd be very surprised if you didn't, to be honest.
At least enjoy it. It's one of his lesser for me, but yeah, you'd at least enjoy it.
The bits that we discussed, Ian, that bothered us when we discussed previously about it, because I think we had very similar kind of bits.
Because of the break. Okay.
Didn't suffer as much from it.
Okay, that's good to know.
They didn't feel as out of place within it. One thing we'll say is it doesn't feel like a near 3-hour movie. It really doesn't feel like a near 3-hour movie. It gets to the point of where you're 45 minutes in and you look at it and go, shit, we're fucking 45 minutes in. And it's got a heck of a pace. I thought I really enjoyed it the first watch, and I still really enjoy it. It's different to what I was expecting, but I still really like it. I think it's one that it will probably grow the more and more I watch it, to be honest. I also watched Night at the Museum, the third one, for some reason, because I watched the first two and quite liked them. So watch that. It's horrible. It's a terrible movie. It's awful.
It's not that bad.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah,
I watched it on the train coming back from the old stag, so I might not have been in the best of frame of minds, but I thought it was all right.
I thought it was horrible, with the exception of one thing. Dan Stevens is magnificent in it.
Dan Stevens is very good. His reactions to Ben Stiller and his constant kind of putting down of him is
the fact that he keeps calling him gangly bells. Yes. And then the bit where his nose gets deformed and he's shouting at everybody to stop looking at his nose. He's brilliant, yeah.
The Hugh Jackman cameo in Night in the Museum 3 is pretty good.
Yes, it is.
I'm not joking, Noel.
He does, and he does actually keep calling him Huge Jackman.
Yeah.
When he says his name.
Does he owe Ben Stiller a favour or something?
I don't know, but yeah,
he was around when I think they were shooting Days at Future Past at the same time or something, and he was about, and he went, "Yeah, go on then, I'll do a day."
Yeah, and
bloody good guy.
Dan Stevens can't pronounce his name or doesn't understand his name, so keeps calling him Huge Jackman.
So he's playing Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Right.
He's like doing a stage play in London or something.
Yeah. Which was entertaining, yeah. That's pretty much all I've watched. There's a couple of ones, but I'll talk about them in more depth next time we go out.
Oh, cool. Go on then, Noel.
I've just got the one, I think. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, Green Lantern. I watched Galaxy Quest, but that was last week. Really enjoyed that. Can't believe it's taken me this long to watch Galaxy Quest. It's fantastic fun. And really, really heartfelt as well. Like, you know, it's not cynical at all. It's not mocking. It's actually really very genuine, and I really appreciated that. I also last night had a horrible day at work yesterday, and I was listening to the new Dan and Ben podcast stream.
Oh, yeah, man.
And, you know, it was nothing directly connected to them. It's just, I came home and I was like, I need to just watch something like from the 80s with horror in it or comedy, like something just, you know, I just need to watch something sort of culty, horror-y kind of, just to wash the stink of today out. So I took to Apple TV and had a look around, went to Netflix not expecting to find anything, and noticed Night of the Comet from 1984. And I can't believe I've never seen Night of the Comet. It feels so directly in my wheelhouse that...
that was your first watch?
It's I don't even know if I've heard of it, though. That's the weird thing. And it's, you know... it's been given a sort of loving release and something in recent years. So some silly, big-haired, colourful, sci-fi horror romping, and it looked great. I loved the red filters that they had all over everything after the sort of after the comet. And all that stuff. The one thing I would say is it sort of loses its way a little bit, and it kind of doesn't. It feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be, because it starts off with, you know, this comet's going to arrive and it's going to kill everybody, and it's going to leave behind a sort of infected race of zombies that like eat people. And then it sort of focuses on the survivors and does its sort of little Dawn of the Dead bit in the shopping mall and all that type of thing. And then it sort of reintroduces the zombie characters a little bit. But then for like the whole second half of the film is about this sort of brain trust that exists somewhere that's feeding off blood. Oh no, that's using the blood to try and come up with a cure. And it's a bit like, well, hang on a minute, shouldn't we be fighting zombies and killing zombies and chopping zombies up? So it feels like it loses its way a little bit, and it feels like they kind of couldn't really decide what direction they were going to take it in. But if you are looking for just sort of like brightly coloured, fun 80s stuff that's you know, just a nice 90 minutes, I absolutely would recommend it. And the actress in it, I've got to see what else she was in. I'm sure I've seen her in stuff before. What's her name?
Your Dreams.
Film info and reviews. She is Catherine Mary Stewart.
Last Starfighter.
Weekend at Bernie's, Last Starfighter.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, yeah, of course, she's Gwen in The Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah. and she's great. She's just very typical. Very typical 80s looking 80s comedy.
She's 80s hot.
Yeah, she's 80s sci-fi comedy hot. She's great. So if you like things like Killer Clowns, or you like things like that type of tone, then it's definitely worth a blast. It's a lot of fun. So, and that was it for me, really.
I'll mention one then very quickly. I rewatched Crimson Peak.
I keep meaning to. People keep talking about this, and I keep thinking I need to watch this, and forgetting. So maybe I'll watch it tonight. Is it on anything?
Netflix. Oh, iTunes.
Okay.
I don't know whether you can rent it on there yet, though.
You can, yeah. It went rental today.
Today? Oh, it was yesterday. Okay. So
yesterday, yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot more second time round. I've come around on it. There's certain scenes that make a lot more narrative sense second time round. The thing is, you've got to go in knowing it's not going to scare you in the fucking slightest.
Oh, hang on.
It tries.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Ian. I've just made a terrible error. I've gotten mixed up with Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide's a great film.
I'm sorry. Carry on.
Have you seen Crimson Peak?
No, not yet. No.
Have you seen Crimson Tide?
I'm sorry, I'm just absolutely useless. I've not seen Crimson Tide. It's come up on a couple of podcasts elsewhere sometime.
No, Crimson Tide is fantastic.
Crimson Tide is fantastic.
Derailing
if you'd gone to see the latest Del Toro film, expecting it happened in Washington with a sub. Jesus Christ. So when I was saying it's not at all scary, were you thinking, what?
That's what that's like. Huh?
Crimson Tide's fucking terrifying.
Oh, dearie me. Crimson Peak. It's not at all scary, but I mean, like, the fact that so much of it was practical sets and stuff is awesome. And the kind of the melodrama-ness of it, I think, kind of took hold a bit more. I think Hitchcock's Rebecca is quite a good touchstone for the film. It's a very, very old school film, and I think watching it in such close proximity to a lot of Del Toro's other stuff, which we did before Crimson Peak, like, because we did the whole show of Del Toro's Spanish language stuff before reviewing Crimson Peak, so I watched it all in like the week beforehand. I think that might have been a bad idea for Crimson Peak, because even though it's like one of his less mainstream, broader, like, aiming films, it's not really one of his foreign language films either. It's kind of a different beast. And it worked for me more. The plot worked more. Wasikowska's still not great. But
she never is.
Chastain is the shit. She's fucking awesome in that film. And like, just to look at it, it's really good. The thing is, I spunked $9.99 on it on iTunes. I didn't even like it that much, but I wanted to watch the extras. And you know what? I haven't even watched them yet. But I'm glad I did, because I'm glad I've got it in my collection now. I see me watching Crimson Peak again. So I was actually really, really pleased, because I bought that fucking Mondo poster and it cost me like £80 as well. So it's nice that I can finally say, it is a really nice poster. And it's nice to say that it's a film I actually like now. So, talk about some more
so
next
easily
week,
could have happened with The Strange Colour of Your Body's Tears as well. I was this close to buying a poster for that.
That would have been brutal.
Yeah, better. I fucking hope I never have to watch that fucking film again.
No, I will never watch that film again.
But I might rewatch Crimson Peak.
Yes, and I'm going to watch Crimson Tide.
I've got the problem to write. Do I watch Crimson Peak? Do I watch Crimson Tide?
Watch Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
Watch Crimson Tide. It's available in some of the Netflix regions.
Okay, I'll look into that.
I think the Brazilian and the Argentinian, I think, is available on.
Well, you're going to have to
Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia.
Okay.
Which means that Noel can't watch it.
Yeah, I know. I was just in case.
For the list.
Is it on iTunes?
Crimson Tide, I think it should be.
Crimson Tide's got to be on iTunes.
Can't be expensive, can it? Let's have a look.
Oh, who can get that quick enough?
It won't be me, because my internet's shit at the moment.
Crimson Tide. It's only available to buy, and it's a tenner.
Can't really justify a tenner at the moment. I'm a bit skimmed. So,
you can buy Roll Tide from Crimson Tide, played by the City of Prague Philharmonic, for 79p.
79p, yeah. I could. Any related films? I could just listen to some podcasts about it.
Do you still have? Do you have access to Sky on Demand?
Is that the one you get with the movies package?
Yeah.
I don't have the movie channels anymore.
Ah, damn! It's available on Sky. You see.
Well, Crimson Peak is $3.49 to rent in standard def. Just do that.
Standard def.
All right, $4.49 for HD.
Yeah, I'll pay the extra £1, man. Come on, please.
No, that's true.
Smell the 90s.
I'll tell you what, you don't like Crimson Peak, I'll give you your fucking money back. How's that?
So you already own $3.49.
Yeah, you can only watch it in standard def, though.
Oh, no deal.
You watch it in HD, you don't like it, I'll give you the free $4.49. You pay that extra £1 for the HD. Okay, so let's do some questions before we get off then. So just a couple. TGP73. When was the last time you wore a mask? The Eyes Wide Shut tribute night that I went to a couple of years back.
I'm wearing my mask right now.
That's very good. For those who are only listening to the audio version, you just missed out on gold.
Yes, you did. I wore a Jason mask just before we moved house because I had one. And I was throwing shit out and went, oh, Jason mask! So obviously I put it on and wandered around for about 10-15 minutes wearing it and then realised, I'm still wearing this, aren't I?
It won't surprise anyone to learn that I do have an Iron Man mask. And I do wear it frequently because I'll chase Charlie around with it and he pretends to be the Hulk and I pretend to be Iron Man. So fairly frequent. Yeah.
I can't do that shit. Donna bought me a dressing gown with a monkey hood for Christmas, and Lottie loves me putting it on until I put the monkey hood on. She'll go, Daddy, ooh, and I'll put it on, then I'll put the monkey hood on, and she will not like it. Okay, Steve Dixon at The Great SD. What are the most underrated comedies of the 80s?
Ooh. Weekend at Bernie's.
I'd be tempted to say Better Off Dead, the film that Noel and I did commentary for.
The Great Lost podcast.
Deleted, and it got deleted.
That's a good shout, though.
Yeah, but Better Off Dead's fucking good, man.
It is. Midnight Run.
Yeah.
Is that really underrated, though?
It's kind of got a little bit more credence, I think, recently, but I think for a long time it was kind of unheralded, we'll say.
Okay.
Fletch. Don't think it gets as much love as it should do.
Fletch does. I would also say 48 Hours. Nobody really talks very much about 48 Hours.
48 Hours is good.
Do you know why?
Right.
It's really fucking racist.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's those trading places and people kind of give that a bit of a pass.
Yeah. The other one that I would say is there's a series of films, actually, called the Lemon Popsicle series. And I've only seen a couple of them. I've seen Lemon Popsicle and I've seen Private Popsicle. Private Popsicle I cover in Adventures in VHS. And I also cover a movie called The Last American Virgin, which is the American remake of Lemon Popsicle, the first Popsicle movie. And all of those movies are great. They're all great. They're all very charming, very funny. They're you can kind of see where a lot of sort of Porky's and, more modern stuff like American Pie, you can see a lot of that reflected in them. And they're hugely underrated. I think you can get the box set of Popsicle movies very cheaply as well. And I intend to watch the rest of them very soon. They're a lot of fun. And the Private Popsicle, again, is hugely racist and hugely sexist. But the three sort of characters, these are Israeli comedies that were sort of funded by Canon. the three sort of guys at the centre of it, they just kind of breeze through everything with sort of this effortless charm, and it's just a lot of fun.
Well, kind of like the first hits really for Canon, weren't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they absolutely were. Yeah. And Last American Virgin, I think it got. I don't know who it was that put it out, but it got a Blu-ray release.
Arrow.
Was it Arrow?
Arrow put it out. Yeah.
It's well worth picking up. It's a movie of two halves completely. It's an absolute sex comedy, 1980s sex comedy romp for about 60 minutes, and then the last 30 minutes go in a very different direction. Dramatic and heartfelt when it decides to do that. So yeah, definitely underrated them.
Very nice. Okay, so that's gonna do it for this week. Coming up in UK cinemas this week, Bone Tomahawk.
Really?
Yeah.
Finally getting released.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
So that's out in key cities. I'm assuming that one would be VOD pretty quickly as well. It's amazing. It was in my top 10 of last year. Please do fucking see it if you haven't.
Yes, absolutely.
The Finest Hours, which is it's set on a ship and it was sinking or something. I think I saw the trailer. Chris Pine and Casey Affleck are in it. What else we got? Freeheld, starring Julianne Moore and Ellen Page. Julianne Moore's a copper who is dying of cancer, and she wants to
I thought Mark was just throwing himself off his chair. Though.
I fucking was gonna, because that film just fucking looks awful.
Oh my god!
It's she wants her lesbian lover to have her pension, and the cops say no or something. So there's
because of course Ellen Page has come out, so now she can only fucking play lesbians.
Yeah. How to Be Single, which Rebel Wilson and Dakota Johnson, Alison Brie, Leslie Mann.
Jonathan McGrath.
Did you see that somebody in some cinema, I think in Manchester, it might have even been had drawn over a load of the other posters, and one of those was, when it said now, this is now showing, they'd written over in marker saying go see Deadpool, and where it said how to be single, they crossed out single and written Deadpool underneath it. And then for the Star Wars one, they'd put Deadpool is a, and then crossed out Wars, so it just said Star. And there was another one they did as well. There's a kind of the one was there's a thing going about where somebody certainly vandalised all of them and just put Deadpool.
I saw people posing with the Deadpool sort of lay down standee thing. There were people posing and taking photographs with it, just reflective of what I was saying before about people were kind of going mad for it in the cinema.
Somebody in one of the Leeds views actually ripped off the Deadpool off that and took it with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the film that we'll probably be reviewing, 999, the new John Hillcoat one.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Noel.
Very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Probably the last podcast you'll be on before Adventures in VHS is actually out in the world. So well done. Congrats.
Thank you very much. It's been a long road, and I'm not quite sure where I've been. I've had success. I've had good times. Remember this. I'm not singing it.
I need a wee. Okay, so we'll be back next week. Thank you very much for listening.
You're actually rocking here.
I am. I'm in our rocking chair. The rocking chair of awesomeness. So yeah, there's going to be more video content on the site, on the YouTube page this week. We might have the site up. Who knows?
Hopefully, hopefully. I keep meaning to fucking do it, and then fucking things happen. No, exactly.
It's been a tough week for Mark, so I'm gonna go easy on him. But if it's not up in the next week, then hell's to pay.
Fair enough.
Thank you very much as ever, Noel, and thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you, people. Goodbye.